Justice League Dark Apokolips War is the newest animated movie to come out of the DC universe. So in this movie, you see all the Justice League members try and fight Darkseid and destroy him once and for all, but they do have to deal with the repercussions and try and save the world. Again. Look, I'll be honest, I did not know this movie was being released, but right when I saw it on the shelves, I grabbed it and watched it immediately because I am a huge fan of the DC animated movies. Look, if you're a superhero fan and you haven't been watching these DC animated movies, you need to get your life together. You need to just, whatever you're doing in life, stop it and just watch these animated movies. I mean, you see so many stories from the comics come to life in these animated movies, but you also see original movies, which is awesome to watch. You love to see DC just, you know, stroke their creative wand because, let's be honest, the live action movies have been, how do I be nice here? They suck. They have straight up sucked and I haven't liked watching them. But the animated movies, they have more than made up for it. I know Marvel has just been in a different stratosphere when it comes to live action movies, but some of these animated movies by DC have been relatively better than some of the live action Marvel movies. That's right, I said it. That's right, I said it. What was interesting is after I watched this movie, I found out that this actually has a lot to do with the Snyder Cut, and it's actually what Zack Snyder originally wanted to do, but I'll get into that. Now, I will be reviewing this movie, but also I'm going to have major spoilers, so if you haven't watched this movie, please stop this video now, and then go watch the movie, then come back. Or if you don't care, go ahead. I don't care. Do what you want. It's your life. This movie really is like a DC version of Infinity War and Endgame a little bit. Maybe I'm going too far with that, but I kind of saw the similarities. But in terms of violence, whoo, it makes Infinity War look like a PG movie. Wow. It is not for the faint of heart. It is so brutal. You see heroes get straight up murdered. It is horrible to watch. That is insane. For those of you that don't know, this story starts from the Flashpoint Paradox. Now, if you haven't watched this movie and you just don't care about spoilers, I highly recommend, if you want to have the best viewing experience, you should start from Flashpoint Paradox and watch the rest of the movies leading up to it. But if you feel that you don't have enough time on your hands, this is what I recommend. I recommend you watch these two movies. Watch Justice League Dark and watch the Flashpoint Paradox. Those two movies are very, very important to watch because you find out certain events in this movie influence the events that happen in this current movie. So definitely watch those two, but I think for the best viewing experience, you should watch it from Flashpoint Paradox in order. Darkseid completely eviscerates the Justice League. He kills most of them. He enslaves Batman to become his like mindless servant to do whatever he wants. Cyborg becomes a slave also, but he's like a weird tech wall where it's like just his head and like a little parts of his body, and he's just like, I am the source wall. That's literally what he does in this movie. Wonder Woman becomes part cyborg, part person. Some of the other Justice League members are also like that, where they're just mindless warriors just fighting his battles so he can become the ultimate conqueror. Some heroes actually live in this, for instance, Superman. But what happens to Superman is that Darkseid injects him with like this liquid kryptonite shot, and you know, his Superman logo gets tattooed onto his chest, but it's all green like I drew here, and he just doesn't know what's going on. He's just a normal dude just walking around, and he's powerless basically. That was just such an interesting sight to see because, you know, too many times we see Batman's the good guy and Superman's the bad guy, but it was so interesting to see a different dynamic of how Batman was made, you know, the complete mindless servant who does whatever Darkseid wants, and Superman's just a helpless hero who can't do anything. Batman as a villain was amazing to see. I 100% recommend you watch it just to see Batman as a villain. He was intimidating. He was awesome. He's basically, if he had zero morals and just did not care about people's feelings. Well, then again, regular Batman doesn't care about people's feelings either. But you get my point. What was also great about this movie is that you see other subplots now fully complete at the end of this movie. Take, for instance, Damian Wayne. Obviously, when we first met Damian, I mean, we hated him. He was a little brat that just wanted to beat up Bruce. He just didn't care about what was happening. But, man, what a character change. What a character arc for this awesome character. I mean, at the beginning you hate him, but then at the end you see him starting to become like Bruce, starting to become like Batman, and it's just so great. I think the part that hit me the most was when Damian is like about to die and he tells Bruce, hey, justice not vengeance. Oh, that hit me right in the feels because at the beginning he only cared about killing people. He only cared about, you know, he didn't care about people's feelings. He just wanted to kill people, slaughter them, then, you know, go on about his day. But the fact that he finally adopted Bruce's mantra, that just shows how much he's grown as just not as a character, but as a person. I know he's not real, you know, you don't got to go at me like that, but you get so attached to these characters that you just, you just feel so emotional by the time the movie's over because you just feel an attachment. You just feel emotional to these characters. We've all grown up watching them, reading about them, and to finally see them have these type of character arcs and completion, it's just something special. Near the end of this movie, Raven releases Trigon, and somehow Constantine is able to control Trigon, and Trigon and Darkseid fight it out basically to the death to find out who's the ultimate conqueror. But it turns out that they tricked him, and obviously they transport them to a different universe or maybe a different dimension. I don't know exactly what Constantine did. I don't really remember. And by the end of it, Constantine is talking to Flash saying, look, your events in Flashpoint caused all of this, which was just such a revelation to me. That was awesome to see how Flashpoint influenced Darkseid coming here and all these events transpired, which is just really cool. He told Barry, he's like, look, you need to do this again. You need to go back in time and just start this all over a clean slate because what we have now is just terrible. We got a bunch of superheroes who look like robots. Half of them are dead and most of us are depressed. So you got to do your thing, Barry. And at the end of the movie, Barry decides to go back in time again, and so ends the animated universe for DC, and we go from here. So with this being the last movie, I just don't know what direction they're going to take. Obviously, it's going to be a complete reboot with Flash doing the paradox again, but I just don't know where they're going to go from here. I mean, is Superman going to be still good? Is it going to be bad? Will Lois be alive? Is Damian Wayne going to be still that cool character? Is he going to go back to being a brat? How will Constantine be? Is Zatanna going to come back? How is Swamp Thing? There's just so many, directions they could go, and I'm excited. I trust DC Animated Universe to do their best because they've been very consistent. Now, I know what everybody's asking. Shaji, how does this relate to the Zack Snyder Cut? I'll tell you right now. I've read some articles saying that this relates to the Zack Snyder Cut because this is what Zack Snyder originally wanted to do. He wanted to have Darkseid be the big baddie and take over and basically ruin Earth. Hence why in Batman vs. Superman, that long dream sequence, you see Batman in a desert wasteland trying to beat people up, and Superman's like basically controlled by somebody. Hint, hint, Darkseid, and he's just destroying everybody and trying to conquer all of the Earth. Why didn't they let him do this? I don't know why they didn't let Snyder do this. It would have been amazing, but I guess because Marvel was just doing so successful, they were like, screw it, we got no choice, just crap out Justice League, don't care about the quality of the film, and then we'll go from there. No, that's not what you're supposed to do. The reason why Marvel is so successful is because you're able to, have origin movies for these characters and just able to be attached to them. Look, when Superman died in Batman vs. Superman, I felt nothing. I love Henry Cavill, but I don't care for the character of Superman in these live action movies because I haven't been around him enough. Same thing with Ben Affleck's Batman. He was great, but at the same time, I didn't have a connection with the Batflick enough. It was just a disaster once it was decided Snyder couldn't make his wish. But now, with the new HBO Max deal, I mean, we're hoping Snyder can finally give us the movie we've always wanted. I don't know what's going to happen. Apparently, it's still in delay. There's still some stuff they're trying to finish. I mean, they said it's far from finished and that they're still trying to fix some of the CGI. And when you hear that in the DC movie, it doesn't really pan out to be the best, but hopefully stuff changes. I know everybody's going crazy about release the Snyder Cut, but I just don't know how it's going to turn out. I really don't. I don't trust Zack Snyder enough for this movie to be fantastic. Hopefully he proves me wrong. I want myself to be wrong because I desperately want a really good live action Justice League movie because, since Christopher Nolan's trilogy, we haven't really gotten anything, and it's just been very disappointing. So I'm hoping to see Apokolips War basically come to the big screen because that would be awesome. If they are somehow able to replicate this movie a little bit to the big screen, I think they would finally turn the tables on Marvel and finally able to come back into the driver's seat of great live-action movies. Now, we just have to see how they introduce the Teen Titans. Are they going to use the ones from the TV shows? Are they going to do completely new people? I don't know. I'm glad I don't have to make that decision. I'm going to leave it all in Zack Snyder's hands because he wanted this. He wanted the Zack Snyder Cut release. Well, ball's in your court, buddy, so let's see what you do. However, when it comes to Justice League Dark Apokolips War, I'm going to give it an A. It was an absolute thrill ride. I was on the edge of my seat. Great animation, fight direction, voice work, all of it was fantastic. The great completion of character arcs. It was just a great, satisfying ending, and I can't wait to see where they go from here. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time.